Hello and welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. My name is Chuck from the Charlton Advantage Real Estate team in Milton with Royal LePage, and so this is our probably close to 900th episode of Milton Daily Homes, and I want to welcome you. And my treat for finishing this video is actually a salted caramel cupcake from FlourGirls, and they're actually right on Main, just right beside Wings Up, sort of in that Martin, Main area, right in the heart of downtown. So they make excellent cupcakes, and Susy, the owner, is a friend of ours. And if you want a real treat, get one of these or get the red velvet, which is exquisite. So I've told her it's like angels dancing on my tongue. Anyway, let's get to today's list. There's 13 properties. This one at 1483 Maple, number 208. It looks okay to me. It's a 1+1. It's one of the smaller 1+1s. We see these going for a little less than what this one's asking. It is vacant. Maybe you have some leverage there as a buyer if you can move in quickly. We've got two on Hampshire Way. The first one is at 105. It's a smaller unit. And so both of these have a $56 fee per month. You can actually see there's a backsplash here, although it's pretty much the same color as the drywall. We've talked in past episodes about how much more you make when you take professional photos. These are not professional photos, and I don't find they really show the space that well. But these are all pretty much standard upgrades from the builder. The hardwood floors, the mission style doors, they're actually nice units. So here's the thing, $56 a month. You compare this to what you get with Mattamy and you go, okay, well, there's a little bit of an extra fee there, but you get 9-foot ceilings. You generally have better upgrades, and you're a lot closer to the highway if you had to hop on James Snow. Right on Main Street. And we'll talk about Main Street intensification probably towards the end of the episode. Brassard is $389. Oh, the other thing is you could walk to the GO train from that one, which is a very positive thing for most people. Now, 888 Brassard Circle. So there's some parts of Toronto. I don't find, or even in Markham, we don't find it as much in Milton, but 888 would literally probably mean an extra, I would say 5 to 10% on your sale price. That's how significant street numbers can be to certain populations. I'm speaking specifically as 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. Anyway, hardwood floors here. It's nicely finished. This is the only village townhouse with an eat-in area in the kitchen. Cabinets look good, so it's all set. They've done the floors upstairs. It's on the high side of what these models go for, but I do think that they've done a really nice job with it. And even out here, they've really allowed you to imagine some outdoor space, because you don't have a backyard here. You back onto other homes. You have a little bit of a side yard where you can do a garden in the shade, but that's it. This is your only grass in the house. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they can crack I think they'll crack the 380 mark, but I think they'll have a tough time up at 389. Here's another one on Hampshire Way. $399 is the price. 3-bedroom, 3-washroom. And then you sit here and say, okay, great. Like, this is a larger unit in that Hampshire Way, still with the $56 per month. But could you get something in the low 4s that actually has a backyard? That's the one limiting factor with this, is that if someone's going to spend this much, even $389 for the other one, are they going to hold out and just get something maybe not with quite as much square footage, but close with basement and backyard? I don't know. That would be the conversation I'd be having with a buyer for sure. And depending on what's beside here, you might be looking at, if that's Bishop Redding and this is right on the corner, you might be looking at a condo building going right here. So $399 is the price on that one there. I think for a while they were up in the 400s. Probably good for them to have the first number start with a 3. 469 gets you 1873 square feet here. There's a couple corner pot lights, hardwood floors, and they've finished the basement too. So there are some upgrades in here. We have seen this model, I find, maybe towards like sort of, model home quality, go for around this kind of price with a finished basement, or I think it even went a little bit higher. I don't know. The home is good. The thing is that front room is kind of separate than the rest of the area. So if you don't have a good use for that room, it can kind of be wasted space. Armstrong is a detached home at $478, so it's actually a pretty attractive price point for anything detached, 3-bedroom, 3-washroom. So Armstrong can be a little bit busy, but I do like seeing a detached home here because there's really nothing for sale in this price range, probably all the way up to close to $500,000. So they're going to attract attention. Azelton's 523. It's a semi-detached with probably about 1,800 square feet plus the finished basement. We talked last week about the difference between the value of main floor square footage at maybe 75 to 100 a square foot, compared to basement square footage, which is maybe between $20 and $30 a square foot. Taking the sticker off of the stove, 2 of them, would probably be a good idea. Here's the thing about this one is that to be a semi in this kind of price range, you kind of have to be more than 2,000 square feet, usually plus a finished basement, or at minimum you have to be a premium lot or you have to back onto something. So I think they're going to have a tough time for this one above the 500 mark. I just don't see it going anywhere. I've seen this one on Ramshaw before. 529 looks like the right price compared to other sales. Especially there's some hidden benefits there, is that they've replaced the roof, they put a new fireplace in, which that there is a little bit more like, it kind of looks like a wood burning stove. But for the right person, that could really be a nice feature. The basement's finished. It's 1,800 square feet. And here's the thing too, is that it's got carpet in the family room. It's got hardwood in the front room. The lot, they only bought this one like last year. The lot on this one is bigger than the pictures show. It actually pies out to 50 feet wide in the back. It's deeper, so it's way bigger than what you find pretty much anywhere else. So most of the homes in this neighborhood need a new roof very soon. These guys have done it, which is going to save you some money there. Yeah, you know, I find when you go in, it doesn't show fantastically well, but when you look at what else is sold in this price range, it's pretty much this. So Rose Heath is at $579. It's a 1.5 car garage. So here's the thing. The value of a 1.5 car garage is probably a lot closer aligned to a 1 car than a 2 car. So once you hit 2, there's a threshold there. And we've seen homes in this neighborhood with the double garage go for around this kind of price. The layout looks like it has a lot of rooms that are kind of chopped up. Not sure I'm in love with the finishes in the kitchen, nor would most buyers be, but the basement looks like a very nice place. Home theater, raised theater style seating. If they include some of that stuff in there, that could really help out. So anyway, it's a decent lot, 22 by 124. I mean, you figured 22 feet. It probably widens in the back, because 22 feet is basically like, we're talking your garage is probably 15 or 16 feet for a double. So I'm betting that it just kind of widens as it continues to go into the backyard. Maybe there's some stuff in here that I'm not seeing. I don't know. It'd be an interesting one. I think you have to see that one in person to really establish the value. London is a hazelnut, 2746 square feet. There's a front office there, separate dining room. I really like this kind of turret style eat-in area, and upstairs in the master, it's a nice little spot to have a little sitting area. Let's go through the pictures here. Nice finishes, well upgraded. A lot of these models have struggled to get. There was one that was listing towards the early part of this year, and they kept raising and lowering the price, and $719, $699, $679, $739. It was fascinating to watch, because that's just destroying your momentum. And 43-foot lot, which is about as big as you find these days. Let's see what happens with it. I mean, they've got some competition around the 700 that I think, kind of gets them on a couple things. Overall size, finished basement. There's a couple of them that back onto green space. So really, the value of a home is really one of the main reasons, or one of the main ways that buyers establish values through comparison. So we'll see how that one compares with the others. Willett Terrace is 1275 square feet. Actually, no, sorry, it's 1130 square feet. It's the Amesbury model. So there's just one room here, and the builders intended to have a small dining area here plus a family room. So the furniture all looks like it's to scale. They've done a very nice job with their finishes, upgraded countertop here. Photos are a little bit on the artistic side, a little bit low, I find, compared to other ones. California shutters, but there's an unfinished basement here. So this home normally has a finished basement if it's selling anywhere near the sort of 395, 400 range, but it's nice. Willett, you can hear the train tracks, but pretty much a lot of Milton, you can hear the train tracks as well. Woodward was profiled on the other Toronto Real Estate Board list. It's now on the Oakville board, and it has pictures inside. But here's the thing, is that it's an 89 by 66 foot lot, which as a comparison, the 89 is probably, I like the clawfoot tub there, by the way. The 89 is probably around the same depth as like a lot of the new ones that we've shown in this list, and 66 is a little bit wider, but you don't really have a backyard. I think this one actually has a side yard, not a backyard. Be an interesting one to sell. I think it's like there's no garage. The outside is a little bomb shelter-ish. There's a small kitchen, so there's some things here that I think people are going to have objections to. Detached at 419 doesn't happen that often, so that's the one thing they've got going for it. Lorne Scott's it's on the south side of Lorne Scott's, which means we've got a 150-foot lot, kind of an English manor style, built in the 70s. So you're going to have some aluminum wiring here. We haven't really talked about aluminum wiring too much in the videos, but the main thing is when you buy the home, you've got to get an ESA certificate. Most insurance companies are going to require an electrician to come in and to certify that the wiring is fine, because there's some issues with aluminum wiring. It's a little more brittle than copper, so it can actually snap if you pull it too hard. You get arcing sometimes. It tends to contract and expand at different rates than copper, so you need to really kind of fasten it into the outlets really well. So they call it pigtailing, and you definitely don't want it mixing with copper too. So all those things combined is you just want to make sure that the home is safe for use. There's nothing really wrong with aluminum wiring, although most people tend to prefer copper. It was just the way copper was very expensive back in the 70s, so they decided to use aluminum for about a decade, a little under a decade. Anyway, the home looks good. I think there's been some homes in the neighborhood, like if on Willow and maybe lead me to believe this is a little bit on the high side. There was a raised bungalow that just sold for over asking. It was listed at $550 and sold at $522. That same model with nice finishes actually dropped their price down. So in comparison, I think that they may be a little bit high. Here's the main point I think with this one is, if you type in Milton intensification on Google, and I'm sure with your busy lifestyle you have lots of time to do this, but let me give you a bit of a hint of what's going on. So this whole area right here is all intensification. Okay, so we've got this, and just to give you some context, Lorne Scott's, the house is probably right here. It backs onto an intensification zone. Maximum height in stories is 4. At some parts there's 7 stories. So the Hampshire Way, the 165 Hampshire, is actually over here, and there's talk of even higher than that for the building right next door. But basically 7 stories here. Jasper Condos. If you drive down Main Street, you're going to see that there's some signs out there for Jasper Condos. So this whole area here, maybe not next week or next year or 5 years from now, but at some point the option is available for these buildings to raise their height. So that may affect your enjoyment of this house. So just know that exists, and that's the list for today. So 13 properties, and it's now time for me to have a cupcake. So have a great day. Go to FlourGirls, and if you have any questions about anything regarding Milton properties, definitely give us a call, and we're going to keep you safe, and we're going to give you the right advice to make sure that it's the best process possible. I'll see you tomorrow.